everyone, welcome to Monday Morning Musings. Steve here. Hey, in this episode we're going to continue on with some examples about the biblical definition of the love of God that is a bit of a challenge to our own values. How many of you have ever heard that John the beloved disciple perhaps, or the author of the Gospel of John is the love apostle? Because you come to the first epistle of John and, he that doesn't love doesn't know God, etc. But yet in that same epistle, John has no problem identifying a group of people who used to be with them and who went out from them, with whom he disagrees, and he calls them names. Now, saints, he's not talking about unbelievers and pagans. He's not talking about Jewish, hostility from Jewish people. He's talking about people that were in the broader Christian community, and he calls them Antichrist. Now, if I was pastoring a church and people left my church, and I got up in the pulpit and I said, those people that left, they're Antichrist, would you think that's loving? Oh, that's so harsh and judgmental. And how dare you make... I'm not saying I would do it. I'm saying for those of you with a romantic and a sentimental idea of what love is, you need to deal with that passage by the so-called love apostle. And it gets even worse because in his second epistle, 2 John, he talks about, listen, those people who left us, don't even go in their homes. Don't even share a meal with them, because if you do, you're going to be a partaker of their sins. Must be John didn't have a revelation of the grace of God. How is that loving? Well, when people leave, we should only say kind things about them because we don't want to be judgmental and we don't want to be harsh. Okay, concede the point. Then how does 2 John fit your definition of the love of God? And we're going to take it one step further. In 3 John, the author of 3 John refers to a gentleman by the name of Diotrephes, and he chastises this Diotrephes because he says he doesn't receive the people that we have sent. He won't receive them. And he's very negative towards Diotrephes. Well, Diotrephes is just doing what the author of 1 John, 2 John, and 3 John told his own people to do. Don't receive them. Don't go into their house. Don't even have a meal with them. Why is it a problem for Diotrephes to do it, but not a problem for the author of John the epistles of John to do it? What? So now the apostle of love is a hypocrite? The apostle of love is insincere? Or maybe our definition and understanding of what love is needs some adjusting. And that is my contention. Agape, the goodwill, unmerited goodwill of God, does not preclude being very direct and confrontational. But because we come from a passive-aggressive, non-confrontational culture, it's very difficult for us to even talk frankly. Because here's where we go. Well, when you say that, it hurt my feelings. There's really not very much in the scriptures you can find, but anybody worrying about hurting your feelings. That's a very Western, subjective, psychologically inward perspective. I'm not saying that we should go around hurting one another's feelings, but I'm saying this: the fact that your feelings are hurt has no bearing whatever on what your experience may or may not have been the love of God. The prophets particularly are always challenging people in areas where they're probably behaving a little bit on the margins. And the prophets used incredibly aggressive and insulting language at times, including Jesus, particularly in John chapter 7, John chapter 8. He's in a full-on name-calling match with the Jewish authorities. Now, you could say about the prophet, well, the prophets, that was them. They probably weren't following God. But when Jesus does it, what are we going to do? In John chapter 7 8, where they're calling each other's names. You're the bastard son of a Galilean carpenter. Well, you're the illegitimate children of Satan. Your God isn't even your father. Well, must be he didn't know how to grow his church, because that's not very friendly. Or in John chapter 6, where everybody leaves him after they don't understand the message he preaches. He doesn't chase after them and say, oh, is there anything I can do to help you understand more clearly? He looks at the others. You going to go too? This is your chance. Bye. I'm not saying that we should be purposefully indifferent and boorish, B-O-O-R-I-S-H, but neither is it right to define what the scriptures talk about as love by our subjective sensibilities and by how our culture defines it. So there's work to be done, interpretive work to be done, and emotional work to be done. And that's what he said. See you next time.